Hello, Web Bae. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Aaron? I'm good, thank you. How you doing?
Um, I think the most important question, do we call you Web Bae? Is that is that your official title?
Yeah, official title is Bay, but you can call me Web Bay.
I see.
Yeah, my real name is Keegan. That does confuse people sometimes when they see it. They like don't know that I go as Web Bay on Twitter and
Right.
whatever. But it's a fun name, so yeah, call me Web Bay.
So I have more questions. Would you say Web is first name or is Bae full name and Web is like is the title? So you
it's
are
B- it's Bay. I've even gotten emails like people saying, "Hey Web, how are you?" Yeah,
Okay, got it. So
yeah,
so so Bae is for your official title and people who know you call you Web Bae.
yeah, yeah. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Okay. So welcome, Webbe. Welcome. We've got Kevin, Penny, Duncan here as well. So welcome to you all. Let us know in the chat if you're with us. And um, Web, I know you, but let's start maybe with an introduction. Bay, I feel like I'm gonna call you Bay now. So Bay, give us the 2 minutes into you.
Yeah. Let's see. I live in San Francisco. I've been doing software development for about a year. When I graduated college, I joined the Navy and was a submarine officer for about 10 years. I'm in the reserves right now, and I've always wanted to learn to code, so I kind of started freelancing on Webflow, and that pushed me into JavaScript, and then yeah, just started tweeting about it and trying to do the whole learn in public thing.
Mm.
And so that's me right now. I do freelance work. I contract with Finsweet. Um, that's about it. I do a lot of random stuff right now.
And you've got a great YouTube channel, so we're gonna make sure to drop that in the chat. So
Oh,
make
yeah,
sure,
thanks.
make
Yeah,
sure
that's a
to
lot of fun.
So Mr. Bay, uh, you're here today to talk to us about Chrome extensions, which I'm particularly excited about because, I think like a lot of folks, I see what people do with Chrome extensions, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Like I think FinSuite being a really good example of adding functionality on top of Webflow, and there's so many cool extensions out there. So I guess maybe a good place to start, Mr. Bay, is what is a Chrome extension and what context should people think about building a Chrome extension in?
Yeah, so I guess I kinda got into Chrome extensions, same thing you said, FinSuite, released all these awesome tools, and I saw a lot of other, agencies and people releasing extra functionality on top of Webflow with Chrome extensions, and, I was working on a project. I Let me answer your question first, and then I can actually talk a little bit more, but Chrome extensions, it to me, it's just a way to have some code execute on top of an existing page. Say
Mm,
you don't have access to the page, that you can write the code on it directly, but a Chrome extension is a little tool that you can use to just write some code that works on top of a web page. So you could do it for fun stuff like change all the pictures on a website to dogs, or you could use it for productivity stuff like a to-do list, anything. It's basically its own little app that you can run within Chrome.
got it. So I think the developer side of this is like you want to execute code on top of a web page, but in practice, what that means is you want to like hack the page. You want to hack the DOM and put something in, retrieve some information. And I think examples of that are like I want to add a tab that only people who have this Chrome extension, or Loom that I learned during the Webflow live stream puts a little thing in your bottom left of your browser. So I learned that live on the stream yesterday. To for you to be able to record video, right? So those are the use cases for which people use Chrome extensions.
Yeah, it's just a fun little way to hack the browser. Exactly.
Got it. Got it. Cool. Okay, so what are we going to build today? I am both excited and nervous about this because excited about the idea of being able to build Chrome extensions, but nervous at the idea of writing code. So talk us through a little bit about the process and what we're going to build today.
Yeah, we'll do like just a little productivity or QA thing that you could use if
Okay.
you were going to build a Webflow site, and then audit it. For first, we'll check for broken links. So
Cool.
if you haven't set a link in your footer to actually go somewhere, we'll put a little red outline around that link, and then depending on how much time we have, we can take. I think it was Tony Seats or Skylar Kitchen was like, what if we took everything that was hidden on a page and made it display block? Like what would happen? And I was actually curious of that, and that's been sitting in the back of my head for probably like 2 or 3 months. And with this extension, I was like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to try that. And you know what actually shows up is the Webflow contact form. You know, the success and error states.
Right. Right.
You know, those will show up
Right.
with this extension and show you like, oh, you forgot to. You know, that's part of my little to-do list. Check that I did success and error states. But here, all I have to do is load the page, click the extension to run, and then it's going to show it for me automatically. And then I think when we had talked as well, we said like, oh, there's, you know, implications with SEO with this too. Like you can count the number of H1s on your page and display that. So a lot of different stuff you could do.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I love the idea. I think the idea of showing everything that's hitting on a page is a little bit like waking up and choosing violence when it comes to like I'm gonna out you, as like I'm the person who's like I have my whole website and then my old website as display hidden underneath while I'm like redesigning it. So um
Yeah, and you might, you know, display hidden stuff because the client says, "Oh, can we hide it for now, and we want to bring it back later?"
right.
Or you know, they ask for it to go away, but you put a lot of work into it, so you want to save it for the time being. And you also see like some of the code that Webflow uses, you know, in the navbar component sets stuff to hidden.
Mm,
So we'll see some Webflow stuff as well.
cool.
I didn't mention that we will need a site to test it on. I do have kind of the test site we can use.
You can use my site.
Um,
It's okay. I'm open to being shamed on my stream. It's okay. That's not a problem. We can totally use my
well,
site.
I kind of designed this site so that we can really display it. So let's try that,
Okay.
and maybe we can run it on your site at the
Cool.
end. And yeah, we'll see what
Cool.
happens.
Okay. Let me copy that. Drop it in the chat when you get it. Okay. Let's get there. Let's take it one step at a time. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead
Yeah.
and let's go ahead and share my browser here. And I am on it. Where should we start? Where's like the right place to,
Yeah, just before we start, I do want to say hi as well to Penny and Colleen. Thanks for coming, and Duncan. Somebody else's name that I recognized was in there earlier too. So Kevin, yeah. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate
yeah,
that.
let me
Let's
let me
start.
share the chat with you so you have it, right? So
Okay.
that
Yeah, I can
way,
only see the little one that we have.
yeah, I don't want to, let me just, here you go. Let me just share the chat with you so you can say hi to folks. There we go. That way you don't have to have the stream open. Okay. Enough.
Yeah, and if people have questions too, happy to, you know, we'll go for a little bit and then
Absolutely.
stop along the way.
Cool. Okay. So I'm here on the documentation. How do I start? Where do we start? How do we kick this off?
Yeah, so let's go. Let's see. We've got the documentation. We want to start with extensions 101. And we're going to be doing a lot of copy pasting, which, you know, I saw a tweet this morning. He said, like, here's a little trick from senior developers. We also don't know what we're doing when we're looking at a new framework and we start from the 101 or getting started guide. So that made me feel good a little bit. Yeah, a little bit more confident. So looking through the 101, they have like a what is Chrome extensions. We kind of already covered that. It talks about how extensions can use all the JavaScript APIs as well as
Mm-hmm.
Chrome APIs. So they have different kind of how do I describe it? Just things, useful things you can use, little tools. Like say you want to access different tabs or JavaScript APIs. You want to access local storage, things like that.
Right. So
But we, yeah, go ahead.
JavaScript APIs being like the thing that is available in the browser accessing the DOM. And then Chrome APIs are being like specific things you can do because you're building a Chrome extension.
Yeah, like Chrome APIs would be like bookmarks and
Right.
tabs and all that stuff you're used to. If you can open the JavaScript APIs in a new tab,
Oops, let me
it's fine.
let me open a new tab. New tab. There we go. Boom. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll see there's you know, Bluetooth, background fetch, what else? Stuff. There's some, you know, a lot of this stuff I don't ever use. Some of
Right.
it I do use a lot. But that's kind of a list of all the different, like I think your video camera's on there, so you can access the video
Right.
camera. Just a lot of different clipboards, so cool stuff,
Cool.
fun little tools. But yeah, let's go back to 101 and scroll down. The actual, so it's going to talk about the files here. Let's scroll up a little bit.
Right here.
Yeah, the manifest.json. You've probably seen JSON, I imagine, with a lot of automation tools. It's basically how data is passed around the internet,
Mhm.
right? And that's going to be our config file. And that's really the only file that we need to run a Chrome extension. So with just one file, we're going to be able to build a Chrome extension. Pretty fun. The service worker, this thing runs in the background and listens for browser events. We won't touch those today, but we will talk about content scripts. This is this code that you write to interact with the page that you're on.
Got it.
And then we can build a little pop-up as well. The pop-up is the thing that displays when you click the badge icon.
This one, like this right
Not
here.
Yeah, not all Chrome extensions have that, but we'll just make a basic one that says hello world or
Okay.
something.
So manifest is like, what is your app? Service worker is what runs in the background, waiting for browser events. Content scripts is what we're going to use that sits on top of the web page and like can, turn display hidden into display block and things like that. And then pop-up is the actual like setup of what it looks like here.
Exactly.
Cool.
Nailed it.
All right. I'm a professional. I do this, Chrome extensions is what I do.
We know how to read docs, or at least we're trying. Sometimes, these videos can help a lot. Just how somebody reads docs who's been through it before.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So scrolling down, developing, distributing, ready to start building. Let's keep going. I think we're just going to go. So scroll all the way to the top again, because we were in the 101. Let's go to development basics now on the left. Okay, so hello extensions. We're going to follow the first 1 or 2 steps in the tutorial, and then we're going to deviate from that and provide some custom functionality. So you see it says create a file called manifest.json, add the following code. So we're going to go ahead and copy and paste all of this, and we'll head over to VS Code, where I'll have you make a file and call it manifest.json. You've already got a file open. So yeah, let's just rename that.
Okay, so I'm in document Chrome extension. So we're calling this manifest.json. And quickly, if we look at this, it's saying, okay, it's got a name, it's got a description, version, action. Okay, just some basics here.
Yeah. How familiar are you with JSON?
I would call myself a pretty advanced JSON user. I understand JSON. I teach JSON, but maybe give us like a little, what do people need to know about JSON?
Yeah, what did you call them? Sideways mustaches
did.
the other day? I was using that in the Finsweet stream that I did on Tuesday. I love that. But yeah, the way I think about it is it's a key value map, right? So on the left, you have your key. That's all the stuff in blue. And then on the right, you have your value. And your value can be anything. It can be, on the first one, we're saying, okay, our version is version 3. And that's a number in that case. And then on the second one, we have name and it's hello extension. So let's rename that to something like AATT stream or whatever.
We're calling it Web Bae.
That's good. Description, Web Bae, or the most Bae extension ever.
Nice.
Oh, nice. You got.
You've
got GitHub Copilot going too.
Come on, I'm gonna take all the advantages I can. So,
I know.
Cool. Okay, so we've created our manifest JSON. This is just like the things you need to create an extension. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, so save that and let's go back to the basics. The other things we're going to do is we're going to create that hello.html file as well as give ourselves a little app icon. If you have you can download the one that Google gives us by clicking download the icon.
Oof.
Yeah, it's pretty ugly. I'll usually what I'll do is I'll go to Emojipedia and like save one of the emojis. But
let me see if I can find.
You'd rather move quickly.
AATT logo. Let me see if I can find that really quick. Okay, let's use this. Can I just upload this?
You just drag this into your VS Code project.
Okay, let me just open a new tab. We're gonna do this right. Documents. I have Chrome extension and just drag it, copy paste it here.
Drag it right in there, and then get that file name because we'll need to specify that in the manifest.json.
Okay, so back to VS Code, and then default icon. Do I just put the name here?
Yep.
And
so good to go there, and you can see it on the left in your browser there. You can see that
where
in the File Explorer. Right in VS Code there on the left, you see the purple icon.
Oh, I see. Cool.
Logo.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it's just saying that it's in our directory there.
Got it. Okay, so so let's save that. Yeah. Now we've got our logo.
And let's go back to the documentation.
Documentation right here. That I think I just closed.
You closed it when you closed the logo, yeah.
Apologies for that, friends. There we go. We're back. Okay. And then
cool. And then we're gonna create a hello.html.
So you're essentially saying here, if I understand, you're saying hello.html is where you're gonna find the information about the pop-up. So we need a file called hello.html.
Yeah, we're basically writing a web page. is our app.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah,
Okay. And then, but this is simply for what appears when you click.
correct.
Correct. Okay. So what we expect here, I'm just trying to, we're saying hello.html will have what appears when someone clicks. And here we're saying what we want to appear is hello extension. But what I actually want to appear is Web Bae. Let's be clear. There we go. Let's save that.
Perfect.
And okay, now I have a manifest and I have a pop-up document.
Correct. And we have our badge icon. Let's go back to the documentation here, and it's gonna next step is gonna tell us how to load this thing locally so that we can test it and see that it actually runs in our browser.
Got it. Okay, so
Yeah, so we'll go to this Chrome / extensions,
I'm there now.
which you already have open, and you have developer mode enabled. I'll draw your attention to the top right there. If you're doing this at home, that's something you're going to want to have clicked. And then you're just going to click, yeah, nice, got the zoom in, load unpacked.
I do. This is
And we're gonna
a new improvement on the AATT stream. I now have zoom in on the mouse.
I love it. I downloaded that software when you told me about it, so I'm gonna try to use it too. Yeah, and now just go to the directory that we've been building our files in, and just click select.
Oh, right. Okay, the parent
yeah,
folder. There we go. Extension loaded.
Yeah, and so you're good. It created its own. That's like the app icon, so that's different from the badge icon. But if you go up to your little puzzle piece there, let's look for the AATT logo.
Here we go. Let's put it here. Nice.
Yeah, so pin it and then click it, and we should see Web Bae.
Okay. I feel like we just built a Chrome. I think that's a confetti. We can just start, we can be proud of ourselves. We've done step
I
one
think so
here.
too. It's when I was doing this, I was surprised it was that easy, I guess.
Yeah. I am actually
something else to
everyone here can update their CV with Chrome extension developer now. Like I have built a Chrome extension, but let's make it useful.
Yeah, Duncan says so cool. Glad you like that, Duncan. It's it doesn't do much yet, but we'll make it do some stuff. Something I should note too is we're developing in V3 a lot. If you're looking on like Stack Overflow and Googling for help with Chrome extension stuff, a lot of the documentation is going to be on V2. This V3 went fully live like in January. So I think January 2022 or something. So it hasn't been around that long is all I'm saying. So watch out for what version they're specifying.
Got it.
Yeah, but let's unless people have questions, I'm happy to move on and we can.
Yeah, let's move on. And if folks have questions, drop them in the chat and we're going to, grab them as we go. So our first, if I remember back what we said beginning, our first goal is to highlight broken links.
Yeah.
Cool. How do we do that?
Yeah, let's do that. And there's two ways we can do it. We can try to write some of our own JavaScript, or we can write some of our own CSS. And the way I want to do it first is by writing some CSS because it's only 2 lines of code. So yeah, so let's go back to VS Code and we will make a folder, call it styles. So new folder. Let's do lowercase s.
Oh, how do I rename? Okay, got it. Styles. Got it. Cool.
And then we'll create a file in there called styles.css.
So can you just kind of walk me through? Are you saying that the Chrome extension will load this styles.css on top of any page that we're visiting with the Chrome extension?
Exactly. We're going to specify the page for it to run. If you specify like all URLs, you can do that, but you'll have to require more permission from the user.
Oh, got it.
So we're just going to do it on one page for now. But yeah, essentially you can just inject your own CSS onto a page.
Okay, so what we're essentially saying is that the code we're about to write, we will then scope and say, run this, style.css on these specific pages. And then Chrome is going to say, well, you then have to require access of those pages or of all pages.
It depends on what you specify. We'll get to that.
Okay.
Maybe in like 10 minutes,
cool.
I think.
Got it. Okay. So
yeah.
We want to take every broken link and highlight it.
Yeah, and the way we can do this is we'll target the href or the href. Yeah, I guess I'm gonna call it a href attribute that would exist on an a tag, and we'll say, okay, if the href is the #, which is what Webflow gives, a link that doesn't go anywhere,
Okay.
then we'll set its outline to be like a solid border.
Okay.
So the way I want you to do that is to open close brackets, and within those brackets type href equals,
So like normal brackets, like
yep, normal brackets, href equals, and then open quotes,
pound.
and one more quote, and then inside the quote, put the pound sign.
So you're essentially
And
saying,
now,
okay, go ahead.
yeah, space, and then open curly sideways mustaches,
I hope this becomes a thing.
and then type outline, colon, and let's see what GitHub gives us. GitHub Copilot space. Not going to give us anything, huh? Yeah, let's do 3 pixels, so 3px. Space. Solid. Red. Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
It knows.
Yeah, get Copilot knows. So I am unfamiliar with like the bracket syntax. Can you tell me what I understand that this is saying? We are like, what is the bracket syntax in CSS?
Yeah, you're probably used to seeing like class or ID
Yes,
syntax.
yeah.
A class syntax would have the period and then the name of the class. ID would have a pound sign and then the name of
Right.
of an ID. In this case, the brackets are specifying attribute. And an attribute is if you inspect on a page and you look like, you're used to seeing the dog ear and then the letter A and then a space and
Yes.
then href
Right.
if you're looking at a link,
Yeah.
right? And so an href in that case is actually an attribute on what's called your A tag.
Got it.
So the brackets are a way to tell our CSS file, hey, we're using a selector of an attribute here.
Got it.
And if you went to the MDN docs or the Mozilla docs and you search like CSS selectors, this might like there's like a ton of ways that we can select items on the page.
Right. So I'm used to this saying, okay, take this class or this ID.
Mm-hmm.
Then there are elements, right? This is saying like take every single paragraph. And then you have, okay, take the attribute.
Yep.
Right here. So let me, bam, look at attribute equal value. Yeah. And you're saying,
yeah, and
I got it.
Yeah, you can get really fancy with these selectors. But in general, you see a lot of the class and the ID selectors, but in this case, we'll look for the attribute because the attribute is what specifies the link in this case.
Okay. So if I look at, let me actually I do want to spend a moment here. So if I look at any URL, maybe, and I inspect it, right? We're saying A, which is the element, href is the attribute, and it's saying this is where it goes, right? So it's a URL. You're saying if the attribute href is equal to just pound, which means nothing, it's a broken link, we want to go ahead and style it in this way. So create an outline that's 3 pixels and red.
Correct.
Got it. Okay. Is that it?
Awesome. We learned some new stuff. No, that's not it.
Okay.
Because our manifest.json doesn't know about this CSS file yet.
Totally.
So that's the next thing we need to do. And let's head back to the docs to do that first. And I'm going to have to,
docs,
yeah, I'm going to have to kind of direct you around the docs. So scroll down. Yes. Can you scroll a little slower?
Sorry. Structuring.
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about the scripts. We're seeing content.js. We're seeing background.js, but this is not the manifest. So scroll all the way down. We don't care about using TypeScript. Yeah. Let's go to ready to start building. We'll click on reading time. This was a great learning example, by the way. And we're just going to pull some of the code snippets from this for our app.
Got it.
And I'm looking for where they specify let's go to declare the content script. So we're going to create this key called content scripts, and we're going to pass it, we're not going to pass it a JS. We're going to pass it some CSS actually.
Got it.
And then on matches, we're going to specify the websites that we want the extension to run on.
Okay. So what I hear, let me just kind of say, you were saying, okay, these are the content scripts. That's one of the elements that we need for this to run. And we're going to say styles, I guess, right? Or
we're going to say CSS.
CSS. Okay. So we're going to say CSS and then the path of our styles, and then matches are run the CSS on these URLs that we're specifying.
Exactly.
Okay. Let me copy paste this.
Let's go. Yeah, and so actually, let's go back. So you copy pasted the whole thing, but notice the 3 dots kind
Right.
of above content
Yeah.
scripts. That's saying like, hey, we already expect you to have a bunch of key values
Right.
in your manifest.json. So maybe just copy the content scripts down to the closing array, which looks like you got.
Yeah, like
Um,
so. Okay.
yep, and don't forget your comma there after the sideways mustache, the
This
purple
one,
one
yeah.
that you were just on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then that should highlight blue, so it our formatter is saying, okay, we understand your JSON, and yeah, so let's edit this to match our project. So rather than JS, we're going to type CSS, and then we'll say styles/styles.css.
And if we had multiple CSS files for whatever reason, it would just be like separated by a comma, right? So we can have as many style CSS as we want. And this is .css.
Correct, because that is you have an array there. That's what the brackets are. In this case, they're not. It's a different file. We're in JSON now, not CSS. So we have the brackets acting as an array here,
Okay,
and we can pass multiple files that way.
cool.
And then, yeah, we could run it on, and here is where we're going to specify the URLs that we want to run it on. So I think I gave you a test URL in the
In the
chat.
chat with me. Okay, let me bring that up. Sorry, folks. I'm going to have to hide you for a second so I can bring up this right here. AATT stream. Perfect. Let me.
Yeah, it should be at .webflow.io.
Okay, let me bring everyone back. We're back. Good to see you again, everyone. And oops, let me go here. This is the page, right? And we're saying run on this page. So in the VS Code, we're going to add it right here. There we go. Save.
And let's go ahead and save.
And
now we're going to have to go back to our extensions page. So we should be done here. Let's go back to our extensions page. So go to the tab
extensions.
that says extensions. Yeah. And we're going to reload so click that little thing. Yeah, so we've reloaded or refreshed our app. And then we can go to the website and see if it worked.
Refresh?
Yeah, let's refresh and then click the icon as well.
Oh, I see. Web is Bae. There we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
Yeah. So if we open Inspector and inspect those links, we'll see that I haven't given them
I love it.
Any link to go to.
Yeah, we can just see image source, but we don't see right here, Ahref. Nice. That's a confetti right there. There we go. That was 25 minutes to create a Chrome extension. That's really cool. And I think what I think this is most exciting, what I'm most excited about this is you can kind of create your own checklist, right? For website launches. Like if I always highlight things in red on the page until everything is gone, I can't consider this complete. And you could do I have the right structure? Do I have an H1? Like this is pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's cool. I have a QA checklist for websites that's probably more than 30 items to-do lists.
Right.
And so a lot of those I could automate if I just chucked them into a Chrome extension somehow, rather than saying check that there are no broken links. And there's production apps that exist on the Chrome store that do exactly this functionality. So kind of cool that we can build that.
This is super cool. What would you say is how do we soup this up a little bit?
Yeah, so the next thing I wanted to do was show you how to run JavaScript on top of the page. Yep. So we did some CSS styles. If there's no questions, then we'll jump right into how to make some JavaScript run.
So Duncan wants to make the logo bigger, right? Yes, always make the logo bigger.
Yeah. That could be our popup.html, just a giant logo.
Exactly. It just takes whatever logo's on the page and makes it 85% bigger.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, on the page we can do that too. We'll do a scale transform. That's a good idea.
Cool. So let's do the JS part, and then if you have ideas of what you want us to build, we're definitely gonna have time. So drop them in the chat, and I'd love to challenge to see if we can build it in the stream. So, how would we do the same thing but with JavaScript instead?
Right. So very similarly, we're gonna make a directory or a folder called scripts. Similarly to how we did styles.
Okay, so new folder. We're gonna call this scripts.
Yep. And within there, we'll drop a new file called content.js.
Okay, so content. Where do I save this? Okay, it's going to go scripts, and then we're going to call this content.js. There we go.
Perfect.
Cool. Awesome.
Okay. And now we're going to write some JavaScript that we want to execute on our page. Actually, it might be fun to try to just console log real quick. And so console log like test or whatever we want. Web is Bae. Yeah, that's a better way. And again, with the CSS, we need a way to register this with our app, right? So in the manifest.json, let's go ahead and register this. Remember, we had the JS, and yeah, now we're moving really fast. So save.
Yeah, look at that GitHub Copilot.
Yeah,
It's crushing it.
save, and then we'll reload the extension, and let's see if that console log shows up because
okay, web.
there's something I want to touch on.
Reload, and then if I'm going to open my console, and then refresh.
Okay, and we're console logging here, so we know that our JavaScript is loading.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Perfect. So, and we talked about our content script being the one that is on top of the page. Something, if you're loading up the background scripts, which we're not going to get to in this case, the Chrome extension has its own developer like console or
cool.
dev tools that you can open. I'm not going to get into that, but if you're console logging within your service worker script, you won't see it here. You'll see it in its own little box. So that's just something to note. But let's run back to our content.js and actually do something useful. And now I'm just going to select everything on the page. So we'll say const all the things in camel case equals document.query selector all, and then
okay,
the second one there.
There you go.
And open close parentheses, and we'll pass a star within quotes to that.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know you could do that. So we're essentially saying give me everything.
We're grabbing everything on the page. Yeah, every HTML div,
Got it.
a tag, whatever. We're gonna grab it here.
Right.
And then we're gonna say, yep, GitHub Copilot knows exactly what I want to do. I want to say all the things for each, and what we're doing here is we're looping this. All the things returns what's called a node list.
Right.
It's just going to be a list of everything that we have, and we're going to loop over all of those. And then within that, it takes a function, and we're defining our function now that gets that parameter thing, and we're going to do something with that now. So let's say.
So GitHub Copilot
what I want to do
currently is recommending we take everything and change the style of the background color to red. That's not what we want to do, I imagine.
No, we want to do some logic first, right? So we want to know if the display equals none. And the way we can do that is we're actually going to use a JavaScript API called getComputedStyle. It's a method that lives on the window object, but we can just say if.
Okay, so we're saying
open close parentheses.
If, so we're going to check if thing.
No, we're going to say if backspace, get rid of thing.
Yeah.
We're going to say getComputedStyle.
Oh, okay. So we're using of thing.
Yeah, so similar of thing, and then we're going to say dot display. So this is that display property that could be block, flex, grid, none, whatever. And now we're going to say equals none, just like now GitHub Copilot's tracking with what we want to do.
I'm going to turn, so next time I'm coding, I'm going to turn this off because it's too good. And it's kind of like, it's foreshadowing too closely what we actually want to do.
It's pretty nice though, because it helps us, I don't know, like, yeah, it's
scary.
I think there's pros and cons to having it on.
I'm missing a bracket here. So let me just, for folks like me who are maybe a little new to this, what we're saying is let's create an object that takes every single element on the page, right?
Yeah, you said object. I would say variable to be a little bit picky about.
Sure, go for it.
About what words I'm going to use, but yes, keep going.
So this is wouldn't this be, this is the variable and this is our object?
So your object, all the things is the variable. Yes. Document is your HTML document.
Right.
That's the thing that's going to have all the nodes and all the structure. When you open Inspector,
Right.
It's got everything on there.
Right.
That's your DOM tree. But the document itself has a bunch of methods that you can call.
Right.
And query selector all is one of those methods.
Got it.
And when we're passing query selector all, what we want to get, and that's going to, in this case, it's going to return to us what's called a node list.
Got it.
Which is just a fancy way of saying, It's not quite an array, but it's a lot like an array,
Hmm.
if you're familiar with arrays, and it's gonna store that in the variable all the things.
Okay.
Yeah, you could go ahead and console log that, and we'll see some stuff in the console,
Okay.
what it
Before we
looks like.
run this, I'd be curious just for, whoops. Uh, See, this is how often I write code. So I think it's, here we go. Okay. Um, I want to see it if that's okay. So we're essentially
Yeah.
saying, let's console log what the DOM is, the query selector all. And
I do the
let's
exact same
reload.
thing.
Let's reload. And then here, if we rerun, okay. So it returns this node list, which has 156 elements, I guess.
Mhm.
Right. And then we say, okay, the first element is head. And here are all the kind of
These are all the attributes that would
attributes.
exist. A lot of them are gonna be null and not exist. Or it may even have, I think in this case, it's gonna be an individual node because it's a node list made up of a bunch of nodes. And nodes are
Mm.
a JavaScript kind of interface that have all these properties and methods on them and that sort of thing.
Okay. So, and then essentially what you're saying is let's go to, let's say, a div, and there's computed style, or is that, or style?
Yeah, the way you're going through right now is you're going through, I think it's the first item within the node
That's
list.
correct.
If you come back to the top and collapse that,
Yep.
so we're actually looping through each one of these. We're not looping inside of each. The way
Oh,
you
I
were kind of
see.
clicking through would be going like deeper
Oh,
inside of
I
that
see.
specific element. But yeah, what I'm saying, I think I see where you want to go. If we go back to the console,
Yeah.
and yeah, just select any random one.
Sure. Like nav3 component.
Yeah.
Do you want me to,
Let's see. Yeah, in console.
like so?
Actually, well, yeah, that's fine. And then we would go to. It should have a style property in here. So it's going to be a lot of styles. But if you go down to S, click the three dots, and it'll continue.
It's like, okay, here we go. Style.
Style, and then you open that, and you get a whole
Right.
worm case of all the styles that are possible. And we're going to check for display here.
Okay, I see what it's doing. So you're essentially saying, let's go through each one of these nodes. Let's go into the style. Let's see if display is none, right? So this is actually
Mhm.
null. So it's not none.
Yeah, in this case, it's very close to what we're doing, but since we're using get computed style, we're actually it's getting what's being rendered on the page rather than if display here is not giving us what we
Oh,
want.
okay, got it. Got it.
But it's very similar to kind of what we're doing. The logic
Yeah,
is
so it's just using a function that returns all of the computed styles for each thing, for each node.
yeah. If you want to keep playing around in DevTools, I'll show you exactly what we're doing.
Cool.
I think it's worth doing.
Okay. Here, or do you want to?
Yeah, in DevTools. So
Okay.
right back where you
Yeah.
were. You might learn a new trick here. Let's go collapse kind of back to where our node list was. And we're just gonna grab.
Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's get out of
Let's
this.
get out of here. Here we go.
Yeah, so let's take that image to number 20 and right click on it and try store outer HTML as global variable and come into your console on the bottom there where it says what's new is highlighted. Delete that. And yeah, we want to be able to access the console. So click that and see.
Let me see if I can bring it up.
I want to write some code.
Why can't I see my code?
Oh, scroll to the bottom where it's because we're.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Oh, bummer. It failed to save it.
Okay.
That's okay.
Let me grab another one. Maybe something.
It's probably gonna fail to save as
Oh,
well.
because it's too large.
I don't. I'm not exactly sure.
Oh, fail
You could
to
try
save.
the H1 or.
Okay, let's try the H1. We got time. There's people. I've heard people come just to see me sweat. So. Okay, let's grab the H1, which is just head.
You can grab any of them.
Okay, let's try page wrap. Oops. Console, page wrap, store. No, it's not working.
Okay, here's a better way to do it. Go to the Elements tab.
Elements tab, yeah.
And let's grab the A tag that right there. And you're going to right click on the A tag.
Right here.
I'm like pointing at my screen like you can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Right
there.
click, and we're looking for store as global variable.
Okay.
So right click at the bottom. Does it say
Store as
store as
global
global
variable. Yeah.
variable? Yeah, try that and see if now in console. Let's see if that succeeded. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
here
So
we go.
now, yeah, if you type window dot, you're going to get a list of a bunch of properties and methods that exist on the window. And the one we're going to use is get computed style. So you have that, and then open close parentheses, and pass in temp1 to that,
Okay.
and click enter.
Oh, I see. So what you did is you took that node, you saved it as a variable, and now we're seeing what the function does. Sorry, this is a little small, folks. Here we go. We're essentially
Yeah, perfect.
saying,
That's great.
show us what get computed styles would output on this temp1, which is, this node right here. Boom.
Exactly.
Okay. And then it gives us an array or
it's an object.
Object.
It's an object here. Yeah, if we scroll a little down, there was an expand arrow that you can click.
Here we go.
Yeah, right there. And now we could look for display and see what it's saving as display.
Okay, so it's weird. It's saying like, okay, computed style number 0 is accent color, 1 is Elaine content, and then we have display. Wow, it has a lot of styles. Wow, it's crazy how fast computers do all this stuff. Display.
Yeah. Yep. And so we're going to check that. So if we go back to the bottom of the console and just click the up arrow and say dot display, see what that gives us.
Block. Okay, got it. Okay, so we're essentially now, if I come back to here, it's weird how this little line of code does a lot for us, right? It goes to every node. It gets all of these for each node, checks the display. For those that are none, it sets them to block.
Correct.
Got it. It's telling me I'm missing a parentheses, I think. There we go.
Yep. And I want to do one more thing.
Sure.
We're going to set an outline on this as well so that we know which stuff we've actually changed. So say thing.style.outline equals, let's change it to dash just so that we have a way of differentiating it.
Oh, yeah. Maybe blue?
Sure. And it's dashed ending with ed.
Dashed like that?
Correct.
Oh, interesting. Oh man, that feels like something I could have spent a lot of time on.
Yeah, and this one's tough too because you're passing a string, so you don't really get much autocomplete.
Right.
That sort of thing.
Cool. Okay.
Anyway, so that should be everything we need to do.
Let's go back here. Let's reload, right?
Did you save the?
Yeah, I did.
Did you save the file?
Let me save it.
Great.
Boom. Let me reload. And did you let me reload this page? Did you have?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so now we can see where, I think I mentioned that some of the Webflow code is going to be executed here. If you scroll up, you'll see some Webflow junk. Yeah, so that's some Webflow code that's running. And then let's scroll down to the contact section. And we can see I've forgotten to style the success and the error states. And then I also hid the little tagline, Web Bae tutorials and tools to master Webflow. But it's displaying here because, say I don't know what copy I wanted to put there at the end or something.
Sorry, I messed up the screen styling there for a moment. That was on me. I love this. By the way, let's just do a quick boom. We built our Chrome extension. Good job to us. So that's some confetti right there. So
yeah, it feels good. We've been chugging through this thing. It's been great.
This is actually, kind of mind blowing for me anyway, because just Penny mentioned in the chat, like, this is a great idea. Imagine you're like with a client on their website and you're like, hey, I have this thing that I've built, right, that highlights best practices, the Web Bae best practices. And you just kind of run it and you show them all the potential improvements. Like, hey, you don't have an H1, or hey, this page doesn't have a description, or hey, you haven't styled these things. I feel like that's so powerful and also so accessible.
Yeah, that's a great idea. It could be a really easy way to like win a client over. Say like, check out this guy or gal who made your last website. Here's everything they did wrong and what I'll fix.
Yeah. But if you do that, if folks are watching in the chat or watching back, you owe 10% of that revenue to Web Bae. I think those are the rules.
Those are the rules.
uh,
That's I was gonna say that's really all I wanted to cover. There's a couple options, like directions we can go here. Um,
Up to you.
we can answer questions. We can scale the logo. We can count the number of H1 tags. We can run it on AATT. See how that happens.
Well, one of those is
Yeah.
very easy. So while folks are dropping any questions in the chat, let me run it on AATT. And actually I have to add it to the manifest.
Mhm.
Right? So if I go here, I have to say run it on att.io like that. And let's comma, I guess.
Yep.
And let's do the att.io like that. Let's save that. Let's reload it. And yeah, if folks have requests of what we can build the next 5 minutes, also taking those. Let's see how quickly we can do that. Let's go into here. Refresh. Could not load. Oh, interesting. Invalid for content scripts. Did I mess something up?
Hmm.
Let me check.
Oh, try ending with a slash. This could be a major oddity. I think I probably struggled with this for an hour or two.
Nice. Well, good thing you did it. You struggled.
Well, we'll see.
There we go. Seems to have worked.
Okay. Yeah. Oh man, that's so obnoxious.
Oh, we have Mike in the chat. Hey, Mike. Mike's a pro. Mike, good to see you.
Hey, Mike.
Let's go. This is the Chrome extension. Okay, so it should be running. And I
try to
refresh. Bam! Oh my god. Oh, this is so embarrassing. So
that's like a custom code embed. It looks like you have there like custom styles, probably in an embed block that's hidden.
Interesting. Oh, so this is actually interesting because these don't. I need to fix that.
Boom! There you go. 10%.
Yeah, and this is the way the Webflow CMS slider. I think the dynamic slider it hides the things it puts in the slider. So this is actually. Oh, here we go. What's up? Look at that. What we got some Bae on the page.
It can definitely be like once the website starts becoming more complicated, doing something like this is a little bit it's a little bit extra, like as far as
no, but I could imagine I could imagine styling it in a way, right? So you can imagine being like put an X, so you can be like, no, this is fine, and it puts it back to display none, right? So I think there's very easy things you could do that turn this into like a very, I wouldn't say like differentiator, but I do think like having your own potential Chrome extension and maybe distributing it as like a checklist feels accessible, right? In a way that this is much easier than I thought it would be.
Oh, that's good to hear. Yeah, we made some. I'm excited that we made it and we didn't really run into too many issues. So that's encouraging.
Some people are disappointed about that. So there's a question in the chat from Duncan, which is, so would this be similar to how those ad blocker extensions work, essentially scraping the site and hiding ads?
Yeah, this would be very similar. In the Chrome extension docs, I think the second example they give is called focus time or focus mode. And they teach you how to essentially adjust the CSS and JavaScript, adjust the page of the documentation so that you lose the table of contents on the left and on the right, and it just is the article itself.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, it's very similar, I would think. I don't know the depths of how advertising on the internet works. I'm sure those guys are pretty tricky about how they load ads onto the page, and because they want you to watch them. But yeah, same thing.
But what's interesting is that with Chrome extensions, whether it's ads or whatever, like you can kind of say, I want my own way of viewing this. And I think that's how Chrome extensions work generally. Like even if you take the Finsweet one, it says, we're going to inject this tab into this page. Right. And what's cool is that no one can stop you. Right. You're not, there's no being like, you're not allowed to use this.
There's no stopping us from publishing this to the Chrome store right now as well. When you do publish it, it has to get reviewed by somebody. I don't know how thorough those reviews are.
Right.
I've published stuff to both the Android App Store and the Apple App Store, and I've only gotten one denied, which was like a quote generator. Apple told me it was too simple
Oh.
to load. But the Chrome store is probably, I think it's kind of like the wild, wild west. Like you can throw whatever you want on there.
Duncan asks, can extensions be malicious at all? I have a thought here. What are your can these be malicious?
I would, for sure, they could be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think very easily I could imagine a Chrome extension that when you go to an API page copies your API extension, right? Or your API. Like I feel like there are just so many opportunities for this to be malicious.
You could make it listen to keyboard events, and
Right.
so it's like when you're typing in your password, it's then sending that to some external API, and you don't even know that that's all going on in the background. So for sure, hopefully Google catches that when
Right.
they're reviewing it, but I wouldn't, I'm sure there's millions of apps being submitted probably every day. So
Yeah. This actually gave me a really cool idea. We're gonna end it here. Is I had this idea where when you're scrolling my page, I show you how the automations that power my page, right? So a lot of like
Mhm.
AATT.io has like things in the back end to make it run. And I feel like a Chrome extension, maybe that I should just build it in the page, but a Chrome extension would be cool where you hover over things and it shows you like the YouTube video that explains how to do that. It'd be a little meta. So
Yeah, you could put your own custom data attribute and say, and like give it a name, and then your code would look for that custom data attribute and pop up some sort of emoji so that your page doesn't, you don't have to change the
right,
page.
right.
But if you want to give a demo of how your page works and use a Chrome extension to highlight that, that would be an easy way to tackle that.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, Web Bae, Mr. Bae, Mr. Bae, this was a huge pleasure. Where can people continue to learn from you, or where should they reach out to you with questions or just showing off what they've built from this stream?
Yeah, I'm active on Twitter. My handle is @webisbay. You can reach out to me there. I just started a Discord. It's kind of, I try to keep it private so it doesn't get large or anything, but I help people with JavaScript in there, and then my YouTube channel as well. Thanks for letting me plug all those things.
Yeah, absolutely. So go ahead and follow Web is Bay. I'm going to go drop the link in the chat. So it's there. So it's Web is Bay YouTube. There we go, Web Bay. Look at you. Bam. All right. So go ahead and like and subscribe Web Bay stuff. So Mr. Bay, huge pleasure. Thank you again for coming. And I can't wait to see what everyone builds with this.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks everybody who came and supported. That means a lot to me. So
Cool. Well, thanks everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Mr. Bay. I can't believe so thanks, Mike, Duncan, Penny, Colleen, so many folks who came out. Thanks you so much. I'll see you back here next week where Olivia is going to come help me with my automation problems, believe it or not. So thanks again. Thanks, Mr. Bay. And I'll see y'all next week.
Ciao.